Well, good morning, District 25, and welcome to this year's first Club Success Workshop, How to Be a Distinguished Club. Are you excited? Because I am. Come on, I need a little bit more feedback. Come on, who's excited? There we go. Now I'm seeing the smiley faces. That's what I'm talking about. Well, we have a great workshop for you today where you're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to have a high level overview of the Distinguished Club program, and we're going to allow you, yes, you in the audience, to ask some questions of our esteemed panelists. So let's go ahead and get right going. But before we do, let me introduce myself. My name is Jesse Ford. I am the Club Growth Director for District 25. And with me today, although all of you are special in my part, I have to say this team in particular, the club growth team, these are the people that I'm working with this year. Starting on the left, I have my club extension chair, Ross Moore. I see that he's on the call today. So thank you, Ross, for being here and for everything you do for the district. I also have next to him, Dawn Eck, my leads chair. Then next to her, we've got Dave Pappenmeyer, the program support chair, Donna Fossmeyer, club quality chair, and rounding us out, we've got Alex Conrad as both the club retention chair, and for the purpose of this meeting, he's also helping us be that Zoom master that we all need on all these calls. So if you have any questions with what's going on in the Zoom or technical things, please feel free to reach out to him. So who's ready to get started on who's going to be successful this year? Raise your hand. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 Well, I saw some hands that weren't raised, so maybe by the end of this, you'll know what it takes to be successful. So don't worry, we've got you covered. So how to be a distinguished club? Holy molies, what's going on here? There are 10 goals. Let's look at these really quick. Just high level again. We've got 4 level 1s, 2 level 2s, 2 more level 2s, 2 level 3s, a level 4, a level 5, new members, club officer training, and dues renewal and club officer list. I mean, this who gets overwhelmed when you look at this and you start the year and you go, wait, I've got to do all these things at once? Are you kidding me? Like, how do you get all this done? How do you break it down? What do I do to make sure my club is successful? Well, don't worry. That's where our panelists today are going to share some things for you, because we've taken this just a little bit differently. And if you take the 10 goals, you can actually put them in categories. This was a device that I came up with to make this a little bit easier for everybody. You break that into T, the training for the club officers. Come on. Then you can go into E, the education awards. A, for those administrative things like dues renewal and the club officer list. And M, for those new members. And what does it spell? Team. That's right. Nobody can do all of these goals by themselves, but at the end of the day, it takes a team. So we're excited that you all are here, because this is really what we wanted to talk about, is each of these goals, because we all know at the last part of this, one little change I have to call out before we go forward. Last year and in the years past, you had to get to your membership qualifier, and the membership qualifier, if you were less than 20 members, was a net gain of 5. This year, it's now a net growth of at least 3 new members. So it's a little bit less, a little bit easier to get to. And TI has made that for us so that we can make sure we have as many clubs getting distinguished as possible. But what does it mean to be distinguished? What is that all? That's a whole nother discussion. But just real quick, the distinguished club goals. To be what's called distinguished, you've got to get 5 out of 10 goals, select distinguished, 7 out of 10. And then, of course, that ever so sought after President's Distinguished, 9 out of 10. It's now where we've looked at all these goals. We've talked about some of these things, but Mr. Zoom Master, can you make sure that my panelists are spotlighted? I'd like to introduce them at this time, and we can actually go into our panel discussion. All right. Are we seeing them there? Well, I'll introduce them as they're okay. I'll introduce them as we're getting started. My first panelist today is going to be Godfred Ahuma. So let's give him a round of applause. Godfred recently just walked in our DTM ceremony. You might recognize him from the pictures this last weekend. So congratulations, Godfred. We are glad that you are going to be on this panel today. Our
Thank you,
next
Jesse.
panelist, thank you. Our next panelist, Jenny Riddle. Jenny is the current club president of one of the most newly chartered clubs in District 25, Blue Castle Collaborators. Jenny, thank you for being here. I'm excited that you're going to be part of this panel.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Our next is another DTM that walked in the ceremony, Suresh Bathyal. Suresh. Oh man, look at this. We're kicking it up a notch, D25. So come on, let's keep the energy going. And rounding us out, we have one of our very own area directors this year, Shamika McAllister. Shamika, thank you. Woohoo! Let's give them all one more big round of applause. I've seen them keep going. Let's keep this energy excited. I'm excited. So let's keep this going. Now, I've given each of these panelists a little bit of prep. So, you know, if their answers sound a little bit staged, that's what this part is. But don't worry, you'll get your chance to ask them some questions also. So, panelists, let's talk today about the Club Success Program and what makes your club successful. So, my first question, and what we'll do is we'll go through each of you and allow for the audience to see 30 seconds. Give us a quick little answer of what you do in your club or your own experience with it. So the first question I have for you, and I'll start with Shamika. How do you plan for your club to be successful?
How do I plan for my club to be successful? How I'm helping my club be successful by being engaged. I'm an officer, I'm a BPE. I'm a mentor as well for our new joiners. And that's something as VPE, I ensure that we do as soon as we get new members established. I pair everyone up with a mentor. I ensure no one is afraid for that first icebreaker. And then I also ensure that they get signed up for their icebreaker. We give them that guidance, right? That white glove concierge Toastmaster service is what I call it at my club. It's a corporate club. So those of you in corporate clubs understand how that is when you have to white glove some of your clients and things of that nature. We do the same exact thing. That's how I help my club be successful. And hopefully with this next update with payment with new members, you'll see us on that DCP or even select distinguished, because I think we've met like 7 goals. We're just trying to get those member rosters updated. Woo-hoo!
Awesome. Woo-hoo! Thank you so much, Shamika. All right, Suresh, it's your turn. So how do you plan for your club to be successful?
Okay, about my club, Irving Toastmaster 3365, established in 1965. The legacy of the club and ownership of the member. And when I was member, I used to sit somewhere quiet and take note, participate list. But now I take the ownership as a member, whether I'm officer or not a problem. I am immediate past president, but I just take any role as a member who is experienced, who knows in and outs of the club, and try to engage members as much as possible. Provide the opportunity for new members as much as possible. That's how I think our club is successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Suresh. I appreciate your answer today. Man, these are just getting better and better. And let's keep going. Godfred, it's your turn. What do you do for your club to be successful?
Thank you so much for that question. And I'm happy that seems to be that is the first question you're asking. So what we plan, or how do we make sure our club is successful? First is going to be maybe defining what a successful club is. You can only have a successful club when the members are successful. That is what contributes and gives us that successful club. There is something that we do in our club, and let me give a shout out to my VP membership here. That's the only member I see from my club, Elizabeth. Great job. So what we do and we do in our club as club officers is, first, we have a new member orientation in our club. When any new member joins our club, we have a new member orientation. That is a hidden gem in Toastmasters that I don't know how many people are aware of it, but there's a PDF file. We can share that later on. And what this does is there are certain things in there, like having the social contract. So we all set the expectation, which is the first thing, knowing what Toastmasters is, why you came to Toastmasters, and why we exist as a club in Toastmasters. When we all understand that, we have that social contract, knowing that your success is my success. If you are not attending meetings, there's not going to be a grammarian, there's not going to be an accountant. If I don't attend meetings, nobody's going to evaluate your speech. So we established that social contract. During that new member orientation, we have an interview to be able to, or to understand what the goals of each member is, why you came to Toastmasters. Walking into Toastmasters is a very bold step or journey. So what took you here and how can we all work together to do that? Then we walk through what the club is, the Toastmaster structure, what we do as a club, and how we operate as Toastmasters. Then, after that, the other thing we do is we maintain a schedule, a quarterly schedule in our club. So we know in advance when we are more of like tentatively, we are going to be given a speech or we are taking on each roles. Now, when you join as a new member, to help you prepare for your icebreaker, the other thing we do is we take on maybe the helper roles, from grammarian, accountant. So gradually we set the person up to prepare for the icebreaker speech. So more of like it's a gradual progression to get the member to where he or she wants to be, and bringing that all together helps us to be successful as a club.
Awesome. Wow, man. So many things. I am so glad this call is being recorded. I just have to tell you all. All right, Jenny, as the new club president, what do you got for us? How do you plan for your club to be successful?
Thank you, Jesse. I think this is a great question, and I wish I had attended one of these workshops about 9 months ago when my club chartered. We're a little bit unique. We're also corporate, and every single one of our members, including me and our officers, are brand new. None of us had Toastmaster experience. So we had that extra unique challenge of learning together. But I think first and foremost, what I've learned is to be a warm, inviting club. The minute somebody attends, the minute the members come, that we're having fun together. We're making it light, we're enjoying, we're learning, and we're really, really having a good time together. And then we already have relationships because we're a corporate club, or we were a closed corporate club. We're now open community club. But we already have relationships with people, and then reaching out to those people when they worked hard to be a Toastmaster or do their first speech, and having that extra point of contact. We also learned early that mentorship, like Godfrey said, is really important. So we have a mentor program, and we reach out to new members especially and talk to them. We have somebody assigned, and we kind of reach out to them every 2 weeks to make sure they're ready to give their speech or any questions they have. But I think mostly just making sure that we have fun and we feel appreciated and we have a good time. It's a warm place to come in and make mistakes and learn, but having fun together.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you, panelists, for that first question. First one down, only a few more to go, and then we get to the audience, and that's where the real fun, I know, is going to start. So let's go into question number 2 now. What do you think is the hardest DCP goal to meet? And I'll start with Godfrey this time.
Okay. Well, what I think is the hardest also seems to be the easiest out of the 10 things you mentioned. So you mentioned in the team that you shared, I really like that. I'm going to steal that for my club. The 9 and 10, right? Number 9 is club officer training, and then I'll call it maybe 9.5, also the club officer training for the second season. And 10 is the membership renewal, dues on time, and club officer list. I'll start with the last one, the club officer list on time. You know, we go through the transition from 1 year to the next year. This is an easy goal to achieve, but when there is that lapse, when the officers or the outgoing officers or someone fails not to submit that list on time, even though it's the easiest one to achieve, it becomes the easiest one. You've lost that, you cannot get it from anywhere till the next year. So I think it's one thing that, even though it's very easy, we can easily lose track of that, and you just somehow lose a point over there. And then the same with the dues renewal or the membership renewal. We know we have a period to submit the dues renewal, but to be able to get this to count, you need to be more of like within that 1 month. And yeah, even though I know I'll pay my dues anyway, I'm a member, so why not wait? I can wait till maybe April or maybe sometime May and still go pay my dues. And doing that, or maybe not keeping track of that with the club officers, not making sure that we've paid our dues on time or collected the dues in time, you're going to miss this also. Even though later on, when you come up and collect maybe all the 20 members, you still lost that DCP point. So for me, I think that is the number 10 is very critical. And number 9, the club officer training. Sometimes, I mean, we all have different schedules. Toastmasters is sometimes things we're all doing to develop ourselves. Things come up. Officers might not be able to attend training. So if we don't manage that well, I like the fact that we have at least a minimum of 4 members. So planning in advance to make sure that, well, who is going to be available? Because we cannot say, hey, all officers get trained. Definitely that is the goal. But things do come up. People have work schedules, people travel, people have family, people have things going on. So it's always good also maybe to plan in advance and say, well, maybe how do we get this minimum 4 achieved this season? Okay, within the officers, let's agree who is going to do it. If we are all able to do it, great, that is awesome. Let's shoot for that. If we cannot, okay, how do we mitigate that? How do we make sure that, well, at least we are able to get that minimum commitment that these 4 officers are getting trained? Then the following season, we make sure that, okay, we are still also able to hit that 4 and get that. Because again, that's what I say, things happen, and it might not be your fault that you were not able to attend training, but then we lose that DCP points for the club.
Nice. Wow. So much I'm learning already. All right, Suresh, what do you have for us? What do you think is the hardest DCP goal to meet?
Most of the club probably agree that membership is the challenge, a recurring challenge for every 6 months or 1 year, whatever way it is for your club. So when there is a membership, officers should be ready to tackle it. First of all, every officer should submit their dues on time, submit the list of officers in advance, early, not wait for the cutoff date. And we appoint election officer or someone to coordinate the election in our club, who normally would be an experienced member who will not be in the officer's role anymore. And that way we tackle two issues in one go. So we have all the officers elected early on so that they get training, and we have members renewed their dues on time, submit their dues to treasurer on time. That way we tackle the membership. That is one of the hardest thing I saw in past 7 years, even in experienced club or the club we have more than 20 members most of the time. Sometimes they drop, then we have to find out the way to tackle it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for, man, just invaluable experience we're getting here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Shamika, what do you got for us? What was your hardest goal for your club?
I'll say membership from a different angle, because we're a corporate club and we're corporate sponsored. We do not pay our own membership out of pocket. It comes from JP Morgan. And with that, there's some red tape that goes through getting that check every 6 months. So it takes a tad bit longer than we would like, and it's not to any fault of our own, but there's just red tape that goes about it that takes a tad bit longer sometimes for that wire or that transfer to get to international. So those of you with corporate clubs, just know, there's some hoops at times if you're a corporate sponsored club and you're not paying for your own. So that's the reason that membership renewal or those funds is more of a challenge for us. Thanks.
Awesome. I love it. This is getting so good. All right, rounding us out, Jenny, what do you got for us? What is that hardest goal for your club? And no, you can't say that you're brand new. No, what do you got?
I will tell you something that's recently changed, because we were a closed corporate club, and we've changed to community in the last month, but open community club, but it is corporate based. And Shamika, I tell you, a challenge that I've had is I've lost 3 officers because they moved out of the corporation. And that's the only reason that we lost them. They were amazing. So that was a challenge. I will say membership hasn't been as much of a challenge for us because we have 8,000 people at Cook Children's. And we have lots of new people coming and visiting. And so we're still around 20. We started at 22. We still have 22 members. I think the hardest thing for us is reaching those levels as a new club, getting people to speak and reach those levels. And what I would say is I love the Nemalita 9 because that allowed me to go visit other clubs. I joined 2 amazing second clubs that have been so wonderful to come to my primary club. I see some of the faces on here. Larry Prince came and evaluated one day. So they're able to see really, really great Toastmasters in action and encouraging them to go to other clubs. So that pulling the other clubs in, learning from other clubs. And I believe that we will reach the levels we need to reach this year to become distinguished, because we are moving along, but getting those levels when you're brand new is challenging.
Wow. Thank you so much. And well, let's take a minute and recognize the fact that we do have 2 of the original members of Nemalita on this call. I see Marquita and Ninfa. So thank you, ladies, for that incentive. It's just, I have a feeling it's going to be part of the legacy in D25 now that we're continuing into this year. It just keeps getting better and making things better, just like all of y'all. All right. Well, some of you guys hinted on some of the things that you were struggling with might have been dues renewal. And I know that's a pain point for a lot of people. So I want to know, how does your club handle dues renewal? And we'll start with Suresh.
What we added recently for the convenience is not the check cash, but there is an account called Venmo. That's what we added. Some of the members, they utilize that just for the convenience sake. But first of all, we actually tackle it early on when the dues are not due yet. Next month, 1.5 months, we start talking about it. Every meeting, end of the meeting, treasurer or president will announce that dues are dues. You can submit your dues to me or treasurer, anyone, president or treasurer, or any of the officers. Don't worry, we can take your credit card. Just give me a call. So this is just like an advertisement in any other announcement in the club. That is the important part, that even the member is eager. Sometimes they'll miss couple of meetings and they are nowhere to find, and we tackle that part early on. We don't wait for the cutoff date. We don't wait for the numbers to be. We want to make them as much as possible in advance.
Nice. I like that. Making every officer available. That's what I'm talking about. That's where club leadership really shines. All right, Shamika, we're coming to you next. So what do you think? How does your club handle that dues renewal cycle?
Since we're corporate, we take turns pretty much harassing our sponsor to ensure we get that check. We need that payment and we need it sent. So we don't just leave all that stress on the treasurer. We're like, put me in the game, coach. So we take turns because we're aware everyone has families, everyone has lives. And at the end of the day, we're one team, right? So it shouldn't all just solely be on the treasurer. It shouldn't be just the treasurer's responsibility. So we do take turns just getting on our corporate sponsor, laying in on them to ensure we get that confirmation that it's been paid. Until then, we do not sleep, because there's no sleep for the weary if we think we can't compete in competitions for international speech contest. Competition season is coming up. That's my plug. So we have to be current, right? And active. That's the only way we can do that. So we take that stress or that weight on as a team collectively.
Awesome. I couldn't agree more, and good call out right there. Just so everybody heard that, making sure your club is in good standing because competition season is upon us. It's important. So I love it. Man, this is like, so proud of y'all. Keep going. Let's go. All right, Jenny, how does your club at Blue Castle handle dues renewal?
I don't think we have as big a challenge with this because, again, it's a corporate club and almost everybody in our group is our leaders. And so basically our treasurer sends out an email and everybody pays their due. It seems like hasn't been a challenge at all. We don't have to harass people or anything. We just we do mention it in the meeting, and then basically people pay their dues and it hasn't been a problem.
Wow, awesome. Whew. Well, I'm excited about both of these corporate clubs are seeming to be successful. So that's a huge win for both of you guys. So congratulations. All right, Godfred, round us out. What does your club do for how to handle club dues?
Thank you. So I think I've seen it all. I agree with all the panelists or the previous speakers. Those are all great ways to collect the dues and to make sure members pay it. And let me add a little bit or a different perspective to it, how we also do it and what I have seen get done in other clubs. As I mentioned earlier on, point from that, but how do you collect the dues from members? As I mentioned earlier on, we do well, try to set expectations, knowing that we are all part of a team. I mean, when you pay your dues, that is when, I mean, we get to be in good standing as a club. When the treasurer is sending out the emails or reaching out to members, how do you do that to be more effective in terms of getting members to pay? Yes, definitely I will pay, but maybe I might pay in the next 3 months, or I might get delayed or whatever. Sending out that email, for me, sometimes I always believe in the subject line. I mean, when you are sending out that email, the treasurer is sending out that email to the members. What is the subject line? Is it something that is catchy? And then the content of that email, the message, what is in there? Last October, our treasurer sent out an email. The subject was, will you join us for the next 6 months? Right? That was something that just reaching out to the person. And in terms of being the content or the message being sent out to the person, we make the member feel more important, knowing that your participation in the meeting helps the group or helps us achieve that common goal. So how do you appeal to that member to say, oh, it's time to pay dues? Well, why should I pay it? I'm a Toastmaster anyway. But letting the person know or letting the member know that, if you don't pay your dues, our club doesn't get to be in good standing. We don't get to have that unique or experience that we always have as a club. Missing you is not something that we want to afford. We don't want to lose you. We try as much as possible also, in addition to all the things that the panel said, appeal to the person in terms of, well, how am I able to get the person to pay the dues and help the group or the club stay in good standing. So I'll look at, well, the subject, how to approach the person to pay the dues, and then also the message, acknowledging the importance of that member in the club.
Wow. Mic drop on that one, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, making sure that member knows they're important, not just the dues. Whoo, this is just, man, I'm so glad. All right, my next question, and we'll start with Jenny this time. How did you encourage your officers to go to club officer training?
That's a great question. I think we have really highly motivated officers, and most of my officers are actually in my same building on the same floor, and we were all excited to go to officers training. We did talk about it, send emails, talk about it in our officers meeting. We had an Excel file where we had the dates and time, and we all committed to the time that we were going to go early on when it was sent out. So we all knew when we were going, and then we would follow up and make sure that everyone had gone. It wasn't really a problem. The other thing we did too was share. We shared what we learned, and we were excited about that training. I remember our secretary came back to talk about, Jamie Pickering's How to Write a Speech in 5 Minutes. She thought that was fabulous and something we could share with our club. So not only did we go to training, we shared what we learned, and we had a fabulous experience. And so it was great.
Awesome. Sharing what you learn. You guys are just great. This is amazing. All right, Suresh, what did you do in your club to get your officers to go to training?
I'm really excited to share this part with all of you. First of all, election of the officers is most important part. Who is eager to serve as an officer in the club? That is very important. When outgoing officer is still there, they need to engage with the new officers we are electing. So we have sometimes 1 month overlap, so that new officers are there, existing officers are there, they can learn from them. in that period, when TLI already announced, we asked them, when are you going for the training? I am also participating in the training. If I'm repeating my officer's role or new president comes, we ask, there is no optional part for the training. When are you going? Probably we can go together. Probably we can join and have fun because we are experienced. I have been in the training as well as a trainer. So that's how we really tackle about the training. It's not optional for the officers early on.
Nice. I love it. All right, Shamika, what about your club? How do you guys handle that club officer training?
They're voluntold, and it's it's like you're going on this date. This is our area's training, and you're gonna go on this date. It was funny because this year I'm serving as area director, and we're in Division F. So I was like, our training is this date. So I got to kind of flex a little bit. So you're going on this date. I went ahead of everyone because I'm a VPE. I attended the first one. And I love the fact that we have some virtual training options because, and I think Trio, you guys actually can jump in, but I attended training while in flight coming home from Dubai back to Dallas for the very first training. I was on an airplane, people were sleeping. So I attended the first. That's leading by example, is doing what you mean what you say. So by the time our training came up for our division, it's like, hey, you're going on this date, because if I can do it on the plane, I know you can jump in on a Zoom. So just doing what you say, leading by example, and ensuring that everyone stays motivated. And it was so kind to have one of our fellow Toastmasters, Jason Jett, fill in for me for VPE because I was out of town yet again. And he jumped in there and got right to it. And it was fun. And the fact that it's engaging, it's fun, that's what makes people want to attend training and then do it again for the second time for that next DCP point. It's engaging. It's fun. So who doesn't want to do that, right? Have a good time. So other than that, you're told you're going on this day.
Nice. I love it. You're told to go, but then you make it fun and engaging. I'm picking up what these people are laying down. I see what you're going there. All right. Godfrey, round us out. What does your club do in order to get club officers to training?
Thank you. I wish I could get seek the help of my VP membership here to help me answer that. But in terms of what we do, well, training is a very important part of our Toastmasters training. And for us in my club, I'm from Las Colinas Professionals. Everything we do in our club, I did mention this to a few people last Saturday, we tie that to our professional development in Toastmasters. So before you become a club officer, we talked about the expectation earlier on. The club officer know that, well, as part of me being an officer, accepting this role, I'm supposed to go for training. So it's not really an option as to whether I have to or not, but it's part of that. And we also happen to be in a district where we're fortunate our trainings are very, not that boring, because one challenge with other clubs or other districts that you've seen is, well, why should I go for the training? Well, it was the same thing last time. Going through that same slides. I mean, I saw that. I mean, why do I have to go for it? I can even Google or go to the Toastmasters website and read that same thing that I'm going to spend that 2 hours or 3 hours there for. So that is very important that we do, or we have district leaders that help us with that. So that is good. Now, the last thing will be, as mentioned earlier, what is the impact of this training? Going for this training, what value does it give me? How does it help with my personal growth or my professional development? What is the essence of the training? So once the person knows that going in for this training, okay, this is what it does, and this is what I'm bringing to the club, this is how it is going to help impact the club. I think making these things known in advance, well, it's not going to really be something that you have to chase somebody around to go, but knowing that, well, there's going to be this value and this is what it ends or brings to the club. What is the value that I am getting? Yes, we were able to get that. So again, it's always good to let people know why this is being done. That why is always very important. The value is something that we have to let people know, that how it affects us all, or why we need to attend that training. That's what I'll add to it.
Man. All right, slight detour because I'm going to just say you guys all said one thing that I felt was kind of common was that the training was, important and all of that. So I want to take a quick minute and see if you would all, if you've helped with a TLI at any point in your time in District 25, whether it be you were a presenter, you took attendance, whatever it might be. I just want to take a minute, and because our focus this year from Marquita Gardner as district director is empowering your legacy, I want to take 1 second and say thank you. So please, if you would, raise your virtual hand so we can say that to you all and just recognize anybody that's helped out. All right, Kelsey, Diana, Phyllis, John, Donna. Look it. I mean, it's practically the whole call. Jim, Jenny, y'all, this is what District 25 is known for. So thank you to all of you for making our trainings that much better. The best part of D25 is the members in D25, and I have to say, we have the best members. So thank you for each of you that make things better and make our district better, just because you're the ones doing it all. One little side note also with that, if you guys don't know, there are other districts that only offer maybe 1, 2, maybe only 3 TLIs in an entire term. District 25 offers over 15, 15. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. It's incredible. So shout out again to all of you for helping make our district a success. All right. Well, what makes our district a success is also what is making our clubs successful. But what is that definition of success? What does that look like to you? So that's my last question for the panelists today. What does your definition of success look like? And we'll start with Jenny.
Thank you for that question, Jesse. I think my definition has changed just a little bit over the 9 months that I've been in Toastmasters. First, one of the big reasons that our club is successful, I have to shout out to 2 of the people on this call, and that's Ross Moore and Phyllis Christian Daniels, who were our mentors, and they were wonderful and supported us and brought people in and and were there and gave speeches and did evaluations, showed us how to do a Toastmasters club. But I think really more than even being President's Distinguished is just seeing people stay, learn, and grow, and having a good time, and we have a reputation at Cook that it's a great club to join, and that's why I don't feel like membership has been such a challenge for us. It's just being there, having and developing those relationships and seeing people grow, because I hear the same people giving presentations outside of the club, and I see a huge difference in the way they give those presentations. It's just a wonderful club, and I'm so excited that we have the opportunity at Cook to have this experience.
Awesome. Oh, this is, I love it. I'm trying not to cry, y'all. I just have to say, I'm so proud of these people. All right, Shamika, what does your definition of club success look like?
Sharing the benefits. It's that phrase that you've given a few times, I believe, Jesse and TLI. With them, what's in it for me? Showing everyone what that benefit of Toastmaster is. And with our club, we pivot quite a bit. So we allow presentations to be in regards of something you can utilize in the workplace. If you need to go over a presentation you may have for the executive directors and senior leadership staff, that's something that you can incorporate. That's part of your speech. Making it beneficial and seeing everyone grow. And that growth may be different for everyone as well in regards of success. Growth may be in membership numbers, but for me also, growth is personal development for each individual member. I've seen 3 of our members get promoted after being with Toastmasters for 6 months to a year, things of that nature. So personal growth, not just necessarily club growth, because to me, if our individuals are growing personally, then that means our club is being successful holistically. So that's a definition of success for me. Sorry, I had to get on my soapbox a little bit as a leader.
Oh, it's all good. Get on your soapbox anytime. That's what, that's what we're here for. All right, our 2 DTMs to round us out. We'll start or go to Suresh next then. So Suresh, what do you think or what makes your club successful? What does that look like for you?
Thinking back, when I joined, when I entered that hall of Irving Toastmaster, the warm welcome and the comfort, they said, don't worry about, just sit here and we'll talk later on about if you have any questions. That is the first impression I received when I entered this meeting, Irving Toastmaster meeting in 2017. That was my first impression. And also later on, when there was this icebreaker, which was the big project for a newcomer, especially the feedback provided by the experienced member, that was really important. That's what I think when a new visitor as a guest or a member comes into the club, to make them successful, to make them comfortable, especially in early on, and ask them to take roles if they are ready. Just watch them whether they are ready or not. Some of the members, they come, they just jump in the meetings. Some of them are little introvert like me when I joined the club. And we have new members coming in and they are full on and they are in officer's role, they are taking sergeant at arms, and a lot of time they are spending. And we welcome them, we encourage them. But whenever new member comes, first check with them. Actually, it's not like directly checking with them, finding out how they respond to the meeting and behave accordingly. So they welcome all of them, definitely. And the success of a member in the club is success of a club. And that goes on to the area and the district. That's how I think about club success. It's the member success that comes to club success.
Oh, this is getting good. All right, Godfred. Thank you so much, Suresh. Take us home, Godfred. What did your definition of club success look like?
Thank you for that, Jesse. I think we've all had it all, right? We hear this many times. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. How many times haven't we heard this? Does your club provide that? For me, that is one thing. To define a successful club, we should all understand what this is, why we keep reciting these words, maybe sometimes before every meeting, and why we have this as Toastmasters. So if the club is working towards this goal, we all working towards a successful club. The other thing is going to be our members achieving their goals. How are we working for members to achieve their goals? I always tell members, I know we have a very wonderful program, a great program, but Toastmasters is not just about going to a club meeting and counting M's and R's, being a grammarian and doing that, right? What is in there? I mean, why are we doing these things? Are we getting the results? Did we just count the M's? Okay, and then we are gone. I mean, we have members in our club who will say, well, just for the fun of it, right? Somebody will count M's maybe and said, well, good for you. When I came in, my M's were 40. Now it's less. So that is something that, okay, people are able to share such stories. I like the point that as Shamika mentioned earlier on, people get promoted. So in my club, I mentioned this last Saturday, if you have members given that experience, I tripled my pay. I got promoted thanks to Toastmasters. I got that job because of that interview. As people are sharing these experiences in the club or to fellow members, this is what you are looking at as, okay, this is what a successful club is. The other thing I'll add is the experience. We have members who will come visit the Toastmasters meeting, and just in that instant, they said, I want to join you guys. What does it take? What do I need to do to join you? Because of how they felt, the experience, they know that this is the place where I am going to grow if I come in. When I joined Toastmasters, I mentioned this, I would travel miles. There is nothing that will stop me from attending that meeting. I became an addict, and maybe sometimes I say a Toastmasters junkie, because I was in 4 clubs at a go. I just loved it. I hate helping charter a new club because of what the experience I was getting there. members are getting successful in there. So I think all these together is what you can define or you can put together to say, this is what makes a club successful. It's something that we all have to keep working on, making sure that we are creating that enabling environment that is helping people achieve that goal or the reason for which they joined Toastmasters.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, panelists. You've now answered my questions. But for the next 10 minutes or so, we will actually now move to the portion of our meeting or this workshop where we will allow the audience to ask questions. So audience members, if you have a question at this time, please use your reactions tools, raise your hand, and we will call out and ask that you come off mute, and we will call you all one at a time to make sure you get your questions answered. So audience members, does anybody have any questions for our esteemed panelists? All right, I see Elizabeth Rodriguez has raised her hand. Elizabeth, what do you got for us today?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Sorry, my voice is kind of going away. I'm still learning how to dress in Texas cold weather, so I apologize for that. Thank you to all the panelists for all your great advice. So I'm VP of membership for Las Colinas Professionals, and I find when I'm trying to invite someone to come to the club, I'm trying to highlight all the good experiences, right, without being too abrasive. I'm wondering if you guys have any advice for getting that perfect invite to get people to come in.
All right. Any of our panelists have any ideas for Elizabeth?
Jesse,
Jenny,
one
what
of
do
the
you got?
things, one of the things I think about, and I've used this when people are considering, because we're so busy in a corporate club, and that's one of the challenges is that, do I have time for this? And we're every other week, so it's 2 hours really out of your business professional life at lunch that you're coming to a meeting. But one of the things that I talk about that I think is a hidden bonus in a corporate club is those relationships that you make. And our, club is mostly leaders. I mean, we have AVPs, directors, and not that they have to be, but think about the vision that you're being seen by all these wonderful people and establishing these really close relationships just because of the club, because we get really close and we do other things outside the club. We're trying to meet to have, open house together, things like that. So one of the things that I like to include in my messaging is thinking about beyond just leadership skills and speaking skills and really promote that relationship and being visible, because if we're in Toastmasters, we have a goal in mind, probably within our business as well, to move up the ladder, to be seen. And that's just a hidden little bonus in a corporate club.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Do we have any other questions in the audience? Anybody else have anything for us? This is your time. Remember, let's take advantage of it. Anybody? We'll go one more, a little bit longer, just making sure. If you don't leave it out on the table. Oh, I now see Kelsey. Kelsey, what do you got? What's your question for us today?
I find that it's helpful to sit down with the officers and the members at the beginning of a Toastmasters year and assign names to each DCP goal. So 2 level 1s. Who are my 2 people in my club that are new members that could achieve their first level 1 in the first year? Any suggestions, advice, specific wording to use to start those kinds of conversations?
Interesting. Jamika or Suresh, any insight?
I'll jump in. What our president does. Here comes that voluntold again. Even with every executive board meeting we have for our club officers, our executive reports is literally has to go toward our path. So we're making a speech, be it engaging. We are doing something for our executive board meeting where every executive board member, literally, I think within the first 4 months, I think it's been almost, we've each given six speeches now. So we are making that progress through our path that way. And then just ensuring that everything you do, including this panel today, is counting toward an educational path and showing those benefits, how we're encouraging those soft skills, and come up with a creative way to have that discussion or encourage others to go through their educational path. One of our members, new joiners actually, suggested we have a virtual or hybrid karaoke. And not just in terms of only singing, but a style to where we can incorporate free verse, so to speak, poem, And I was like, oh, we can figure that out. And she literally came up with an entire presentation on how we can do this, not just only singing, but we can do open verse and dialogue, things of that nature. So your members and your officers can also count towards your path, but encourage those soft skills, what the benefits of having those speeches and going towards your pathways can help, those transferable skills, whether albeit corporate or community club, because at the end of the day, we each have other things we're doing in our lives. Most of us all have jobs. So we can all just hone in on those soft and transferable skills. So maybe encourage it that way and start at your e-board meeting with the officer. State that every e-board meeting, this needs to count toward a path, no matter what that path is, to give them a creative and innovative way to present their executive reports to the board. Thanks.
Wow. Nice. I love it. So much opportunity to learn from y'all. This is great. All right. We've got time for at least one more question and then we'll be wrapping up. So, I see John Aparicio. John, what's your question today, sir?
Hey, everybody. Good morning. My question is more geared towards members. We're a corporate club as well. One of the issues that we have, our company pays for our dues, and Shamika, I feel you on that process because I'm working on that. One of the things that we run into is, I think we even talked about it a little bit here today, is members just joining to join a club and not really knowing what it's about. Now, we do set proper expectations, and we don't want to be too abrasive when we get a member that's not really that engaged and might not fit. But do you have any ideas or guidance on how to really engage those members to really show them the value and why it actually is a good reason to be in Toastmasters?
I'll jump in there really quickly. As a club and as officers, one thing, and even leader in corporate America, you have to be willing to meet people where they are. People are going to progress sometimes in their own time, but we have to sometimes fall back and meet individuals where they are, right? Sometimes that lack of engagement, they may come in, they may join, of course, maybe just to put it on the resume or their yearly review to say they did it. We know, we've all seen some. But as they sit and they continue to attend, if they're continuing to attend a meeting, they will eventually become involved because they're steadily attending for a reason. They can just join and have that membership paid without ever attending, but you're piquing their interest. You're keeping them engaged. They're willing to come back. They will eventually become involved. Assign a mentor. Mentorship helps to kind of perform a root cause analysis to see what is it they truly want to get out of it. And then you can individually encourage those members that way, because sometimes they don't want to speak up in front of a room and they just need a little bit of coaching, like coaxing a little bit, but meet them where they're at. It will work. Trust me, they would get involved, especially if they're steadily attending the meeting. If they weren't attending, that's one thing. They just joined to put it on their development for the year. But if they're steadily coming back, they're going to the conference room or jumping on that Zoom, they're intrigued. You have their interest. Now it's just assign a mentor to see exactly what their plans are, what their reasoning is. And I think Crystal said it in the chat, why did you join and why did you stay? So I came for, I stay for. Try to get that. Yes, Crystal, I'm telling you, I'm stealing it, recycling it already, because it will help in those corporate clubs.
And one of the
Anyone
things, sorry, Shamika, one of the things I agree, meet them where they are. And that's something that I've learned just in the few months that I've been in Toastmasters. If they're truly not going to be engaged, then I try a few times, but then leave them, maybe they will be later on. But I also try to establish as the president a personal relationship with every person that comes to the club. And then I actually try to make, in a really sweet, nice way, I reach out to them via email and say, hey, Sandra, you know what? You are such a great leader. And I love the way you did this. And I think you would be an amazing Toastmaster. Would you consider? So kind of laying on the guilt a little bit, but also laying on the, and it works. Well, I would have done this if you hadn't done that. So that works really well, giving them that. If they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. But a lot of times they're just waiting to be pushed. And so giving them that extra push has really worked for me.
Nice. All right, Suresh, what do you got?
I don't know whether you guys think this way. The icebreaker is real icebreaker even for member to stay in the club or leave it. So when a new member joins, even before joining, I normally provide this printout of how you structure your icebreaker. I print it out with the membership packet and welcome packet or email it to them. And when they join, provide the Toastmaster wears the many hat, that document, so that they can engage in the club according to their capacity when they are ready to take the role. That way we engage the member. The first icebreaker is very, very important. After that, they will not leave the meeting. They will be engaged in the organization itself. And that's my experience, and it works. By the way, it works. And I want to share our ribbon just received for our club 2021-2022.
Nice. All right, Godfrey.
Jesse,
and
so just a quick one. I know I agree with
Sure.
everything everyone said here. One thing we also have to keep in mind is what stops people from stepping up. And we Toastmasters, we all talk about how evaluations are very important. I don't think we've mentioned that here. I've seen people get evaluated, cried, and never come back to Toastmasters meetings. So we always have to keep in mind, we evaluate to motivate. If I am a new member, I come in and I see someone getting evaluated in a way it's not going to motivate me to step up, definitely you will not get me stepping up. So evaluating to motivate is very, very important. The constructive feedback is something that is very important. So just to keep that in mind. And the last thing is just sharing the link to the orienting new members. I don't know how many of you have been able to find this hidden link in Toastmasters. It is good for clubs. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, it is going to be the top of the hour. We only have 2 minutes left. So I just want to take one more minute and say thank you to all of our panels. So thank you again, Shamika, for being here, representing your area. It has been a pleasure to have you part of this. Suresh, thank you, sir, for being part of this panel and giving your valuable insight as a new DTM. I just love it. Godfrey, what can we say? But thank you again for everything that you do for the district. And Jenny, that new club president. So let's give it up again one more time for our 4 panelists. Thank you all for being here. If anybody has any other questions, we can always talk more offline. But the last thing I want to send is something in chat. If we can ask, this is a Google form. This is just a quick little survey about this event today. And then also the last question on that will be, what kind of workshops are you interested in the future? There's a couple options. But then there's a free form one that if you think of something else that might be useful or you might want to learn about, we'd love to see what you want to learn about and make that part of our success plan. So with that, I just again want to say thank you to our panelists and thank you for District 25 for all of you coming out on a Saturday morning. We know there's plenty of other places that you could be, but you chose to be here with us and we are glad you did. So thank you. And we hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you again, panelists. It's been a pleasure.
Happy
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
Jesse. Yes, happy
Thanks,
Thanksgiving.
everyone.
Happy Saturday,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.